In today's video, I'm going to bring you through an e-commerce brand that does over $150 million every single year. They're absolutely killing it. They're growing year over year. I'm going to break down their creatives, their landing pages, their offers, every single thing so that we can understand exactly why what they're doing is working, and then we can implement it upon it ourselves. Now, if you are a new viewer, my name is Brando. I've been fortunate enough to work with over 100 plus e-commerce brands in the last 6+ years. And this is just one of our own clients, just so you know the types of caliber of clients and the type of data that we're used to getting access to. That is doing 8 figures. We typically work with 7 and 8 figure e-commerce companies, just so you get that refresh so you know this is real. And we got the proof out of the way, and now we can get right into the case study. Now, this is the company that I want to talk about. It's called Ruggable. They're actually doing very, very well from multiple different aspects. First of all, their branding is impeccable. I'm going to break down the first things that I typically do in these videos, just so we have a bit more context before diving deeper into the analysis, right, of the brand. Is going through the funnel, so we understand what offers they're running, where they're sending their traffic. As you can see, I'm using this tool called Archa, which basically breaks down everything. I like to filter by longest running ads. I also like to filter by active ads, just to have an understanding of how many ads they're actually running. And it seems like they're running 700 active ads, which is multiple millions of dollars per month in ad spend, not in revenue, in ad spend, right? And so let's take a look at what they're doing with the landing pages and where they are redirecting their traffic, so that we can then take a look at the funnel and dive deeper as we move on. Okay, so first of all, it seems like they're doing a discount collection bestseller offer, right? So let's see what this landing page is. They're also sending traffic to their bestseller page and their other. If I have to be honest, like, they have a lot of pages, so they're scaling horizontally in terms of like sending traffic to like specific landing pages based on what the ad is talking about, for example. And I noticed this without going every single ad with you on this video, which doesn't make any sense. I did it prior to the video, right? And I noticed that this, let's just take a look over here. They're sending people to like specific pages that resonate with the ad, so there's no misconnect, right? Or disconnect, sorry, which is really, really important. And so these are basically the landing pages that they're running. They're doing a 15% off site-wide, 20% off 2+ rugs. So buy more, get more for free. And the thing, I guess their value proposition is that, as you can tell, the prices are not like super, super high. The starting prices of these rugs, knowing that there's good quality, is pretty reasonable. $129, $200, $300. Like, these are really good prices for rugs. So this is kind of like one of their value propositions as well. Great quality with great price. So they're doing kind of this offer, 15% off site-wide, 20% off 2+ rugs, which is incentivizing them to increase the average order value, which is always something that I recommend. Always try to sell an offer along with a product, and just selling instead of just selling the product. An offer is a lot more powerful, right? So let's take a look at, for example, one of their landing pages that I pulled up earlier. I really like what they're doing here, because they are we have some home decor clients. Okay, we've worked with actually probably 7 in the last years. And the one thing that really helped us, at least, is having just really high perceived value images. Image quality is key, okay? Having these very, very high quality images is going to increase the perceived value of the rug in this case. And so having it presented well within the page. And by the way, I think this is AI generated. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Especially when you have a lot of products and a lot of SKUs, a lot of different designs, it's good to find a way to scale, to still reproduce high leverage, high quality creatives, and not only creatives, but image ads, product images, sorry, to increase that perceived value. So they're definitely also using AI. This is very well, very, very nice image. It gives you a very clear understanding of how the product actually looks. And then let's take a look at this section over here, which is probably one of the most important sections, other than the great images, of course. So they have reviews, they have the offer. Always, when you run an offer, I'm not sure why a lot of brands actually don't do this, is that they don't remind people that there's an actual offer here that they would be missing out on. And so a lot of people just get distracted and they don't take leverage of it. But if they forget about the offer, they're not going to buy more, probably, right? Unless you get lucky, right? And so they have reviews, they have a reminder of the offer in red, so it's very easy to kind of like see. And then there's the price. There's also interest payment for more flexible terms, ships free within 1 week, right, to set the expectation. Then there's also a side guide, which I think is very, very good. This is, I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is really, really powerful. It gives you the options of where you can put it, the sizing, which is really, really helpful. Very, very good. And then there's some upsells over here. This is what I also really like. They're actually aligning or adding the value proposition of their rug within their page. And so they're not just selling a rug, they're selling also a rug that is easily washable and that actually has this technology where you can basically put a mat under it. As you can see, the woman is putting it up, and underneath there's a mat which is a sticky mat. You know those carpets that always go around the house, or not go around the house, but they basically slip. This is an anti-slip technology that they also kind of added, right? And so interchangeable covers, machine washable, spill proof material, right? All of these are really, really added value propositions. And you'll see as we'll analyze the ads that there's a lot of people that they're doing quite a lot of UGC videos of people just going through the product. Let me see if I spot a couple. They're going through the product and they're selling with on behalf of, like, of their dog, of their children. When people spill things, right? These are some UGC creators that show the product in use, and they show the technology of the rubber on the bottom of the rug, which is really useful. I'm gonna go through these things later, but let's keep going over here. I like that you may also like. I like this section a lot where that increases AOV, more products, and then this is kind of like a before and after. So people understand the quality of the rug, and then there's more features and benefits. Overall, very, very nice landing pages. You can clearly see that they're doing CRO. If there's one thing that I noticed between 6-7-figure companies and 8-9-figure companies, is that all those teams have CRO experts on the team, whether that's just one person or two, or just a full stack agency that just does CRO from morning to evening, right? And this is really, really important, because if you're getting like 500,000 visitors a month or 1 million a month as you grow, even 0.12% conversion rate change is like hundreds of thousands of dollars by the end of the year. So these are really, really important aspects. So overall, I really like what they're doing. Let's add to cart. Let's see what their cart looks like. Very simple cart. There's also some more upsells and downsells as they go through the funnel. And let's take a look at the checkout. Very, very nice. We have some 30-day return, made to order, free shipping, increase. These are aspects that increase AOV. And then what I would also personally add is maybe a section where you can still you can keep on upselling and downselling people. There's some apps that you can utilize where you can basically add upsells and downsells on the checkout page, which is really, really useful to still increase the AOV. I'm not sure if they're doing this, but most of our clients, whenever you go through checkout, we like to implement one-click upsells and downsells and cross-sells to just increase that average order value further even more. Okay, let's take a look at what they're doing with their ads very quickly. And first of all, I always like to see the distribution of images and videos that they run, just to have an understanding of that. Videos, only 30%, but they're still running 234 ads or videos, so they clearly work for them. And then images, they're doing 514 ads, so 67%, 67.2% to be precise. And so the types of ads that they seem to be, if you maybe are in this industry, you can really get inspiration from it. And by the way, the reason I do these videos, because these are the exact breakdowns that we actually do for our clients before we get into the market research and before we actually come up with strategies. Just to show you, like, we go through their creatives, their hooks, their ad copies, their headlines, their landing pages, their personas, their ad angles, every single thing. And sometimes we even buy the products if we're really curious to see what's happening on the back end. And we definitely subscribe to their email list, so that we receive their emails and we are always up to date on what they're doing and what's working. And this is not just to copycat them, but we want to understand why what they're doing is working, so that we can take those ideas and improve upon them, which is the entire kind of like our own value proposition, right? We don't like to reinvent the wheel. We like to start with proven methodologies and concepts, so that we can make it better and beat our competitors, right? And provide more value, more perceived value to our end consumer. So it seems like what they're doing is that they're leveraging, first of all, AI for these images. Most of them are probably real because they have photo shoots and they have creators that where they can do these photo shoots, or they also just have photo shoots, professional photo shoots done. And some images are also very, very simple and clean, which I like. Let's filter by longest running ads, just because I'm curious to see, by active ads, just because I'm curious to see what has been working for the long term. Let's take a look at this video ad.
So I've been looking for a rug that is not only durable and easy to clean, because of this one, but also fits the aesthetic of my home. And today, I think I might have just found it. Ruggable rugs will not only elevate the look of your living space, but are also super easy to wash if your fur baby has an accident. All you need to do is undo the Velcro pad, place in the washing machine, and you are good to go.
You get the point. So they're doing this type of UGC video, which is very, very, it's on the more expensive side, but it's 100% worth it if you know that the videos are going to be profitable and they're going to work. It's at least a test, right? Let's see another one over here. Let's see this. This seems more high-end, luxurious. Let's just do this one.
Do what you like, have fun, be bold. That's part of living.
They're doing a high-end ad over here that they probably paid an agency to do, right? Which is also something to be to test and worth trying. These are also high-end perceived ads. You can clearly see. Let's take a look.
My children can be crazy, so I have to make sure that my home is kid-proof. One of the ways I've done this is by getting this ruggable rug. It comes with a non-slip mat, meaning I don't need to...
This is a very demo sales. If you can find a way to demonstrate your product and how it works and how to build it and how to utilize it, how to get value from it, then you're a step ahead, because demo always sells. Show, don't tell, right? That's a famous marketing phrase there. So it seems like they're doing a lot of these things, a lot of different concepts. One thing that I really like about what they're doing, if we can take a look at ad angles, is that they are selling, and I always talk about this in all my other videos, right? So I don't want me to repeat myself too much, but at the end of the day, these are the things that repeat themselves because they clearly work, is that they expand their marketing angles horizontally. So they have either selling with an angle like curated home aesthetics, effortless cleaning, cozy atmosphere benefits, kids and pet friendly. Like all of these are angles that untap different markets and allow you to scale horizontally very, very aggressively. Let's take a look at, for example, this diagram over here, which gives us a very clear understanding. Not this one. Let me just show you very quickly the one I'm talking about. I always show this in all of my videos, but one of the ways to actually get to over $1 million a month is scaling horizontally with your angles, with your creative concepts, and then of course other things like product, markets, personas, offers. But the two most important things are the angles and the scaling the creative concepts. Let me show you a graphical representation, a new chart that I created, just to give you an understanding of how this actually works. I mean, as you can see, let me just skip the product one. The product one is very simple. Is like some products are just capped. This is basically this black line that you see is like the market cap for the product. And so for one reason or for the other, maybe product one that you're promoting is capped at 300K. And so instead of just trying to go over that gap, which is really in most cases a challenge, you want to scale horizontally with products, which, by the way, is something that they're absolutely doing. Like, they have so many SKUs, styles, rooms, colors, whatever, so many different types of rugs. So they're definitely doing that. And so marketing angle maximization. And so this is what I was talking about earlier before when I was referring to these angles. They're really focusing on that aspect. And so you can sell this phone, for example, in so many different ways. You can sell it because it's slim. You can sell it because it has a cool advanced technology advancement. You can sell it because it tracks your heartbeat, because of for people that like to run and jog, right? Run and jog. So the athletic people, right? So you can sell this product in like 50 different ways. It would be stupid for you to sell that in one way, right? So just to be honest with you. And so these companies scale horizontally with angles, and just like products, angles also have market caps. It's really hard to go over that market maximum when it comes to the angle. And so the least thing that you can do is scale horizontally. And just like and I've spoken about these concepts before, but I created a different visual representation because I think it's easier to understand like this. Same thing you should do with not angle, but creative concepts, right? You want to have scale horizontally with creative concepts. And so these kind of like yellow areas that you see are the angles, right? And these gray areas are the untapped potential and the extra revenue that you could be generating, additional extra revenue that you could be generating if you expanded on creative concepts. What is a creative concept? This is an example of creative concept. An AI song, X reasons why, review videos, unboxing videos, reaction videos, comment overload, TikTok response bubble, statistics, POVs, before and afters. I can go on. And by the way, if you want a document that actually has 4 different creative concepts, 30 to 40 at least, with inspirational ads, there's a link down below to this document which gives you a whole breakdown of these creative concepts that you can scale. Because once again, what we do is that when we do the research, we decide the angles that we want to test, and we decide the creative concepts that we want to test, and then eventually we mix and match. So the double chin angle will scale with maybe the winner, which is POVs, but then we don't limit ourselves, and we probably spend like 30% of our resources testing new creative concepts to allow this kind of like effect to happen, where we can add an extra 100K, 200K per angle, which of course compounds over time. Okay. One other thing that's really important, just to talk about this very briefly, is understanding and mastering the levels of prioritization. If you don't know how to prioritize your content production, then you go crazy. And so one thing that they clearly do, you can see that most of their ads are the winning ads. So like the image ads, the concepts with like high-end production, whatever. And so they do a lot of that. But there's also that 20% aspect, which is basically testing completely new concepts. So 80% of their time, and including, this is how we do business as well, like 80% of our time goes towards scaling winners, marketing angles, creative concepts, scripts, winning hooks, best performing UGC creators, best B-roll shots, right? And then the 20% goes towards a new viral trend, the new angle, the new creative concepts, the new script idea, etc., etc., etc. So this is how you should distribute your resources. Okay, I know that I went into a rant, but this is really really important. And so they also do the same thing with like different themes. So features, benefits, these are like kind of like creative concepts, right? Announcement, seasonal, promotional, problem solution type of creative, a showcase, a demo sales, right? Features, benefits. And so they're scaling across multiple angles. And then of course there's going to be the majority, in this case like the top 3 or 4 are going to be the best, kind of the winning creative concepts, right? And so this is what they're doing, this is what I'm noticing. If you want to have a really a cool way to come up with these nice designs like this one, for example, because once again they're running most of their ads or images, right? Even this one, for example. You can also go into the Creative OS, which is a tool that basically gives you these templates ready, and so you can go and filter by niche, by brand. There's brand inspos, right? Which is really really good. Let's just say we like this brand over here, and then we can basically recreate. Click on this, and then we can use and edit this on Canva. And so this is basically what you see. You click on edit, and then you can basically have there's like 2 slides. One is the one that you get, and one is basically a placeholder. So instead of you having to type in wear skincare or basically 2 sub headlines, it's going to be there for you with an image replacement. So it's very very easy to create these things. You can also copy on Figma if you're a Figma fan. So this is a really really cool tool. It's basically going to save you 50%, 70% of your time, and also ideation, because many times you want to come up with new ideas and they're here for you. Okay, this is overall the conclusion of the brand. If there's one thing that I really recommend and that I noticed that these brands do methodically is really just track results. Okay, and so we have a creative testing tracker, which I speak about very very often in my videos, and this allows us to track every single test that we do so that we can come up with conclusions. But overall, essentially just to close the whole the rant over here, each single row is like a creative test, and so we track what the marketing angle is that we use, the main emotion we use, the avatar that we used, everything that we use, so that we can then come up with like final conclusions and then next steps, so we know exactly what's working. And then of course we can also like go a step further and do like graphical representations, and calculate win rate of our ads, etc., etc., right? And so you can be very creative with everything that you can create when you have the data. Once again, you can get access to this entire document, which has a bunch of other things like an ROI calculator, daily report, right? Ad copies, UGC tracker, CRO tracker. There's just a link down below. Okay, and that's it for this video. Let me see if I want to talk about other things that are related. But yeah, overall, expand your marketing angles. I know that I'm very repetitive in my videos, but I am for a reason. It's to remind you that you need to do these things, and they're really really important. And then most importantly, if you're selling, you should do this no matter what, but especially if you're selling like clothing or home decor, things that you sell and sell, they sell because people like how they look, right? The image quality, the quality that you can have as a perceived value, which is a byproduct of whether people buy or not, is super super important. Okay, so the one thing that I really like is just that they have very very nice images and very nice product demos, so people can see these products in their house, right? And also, one other big takeaway that I have is just having a size guide, just to show people, hey, this is how you can use your product. This is how it's going to look. This is the size. This is the, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the living room, right? These are all really, really important aspects. Okay, one other thing that I like is that they have collections based on color, because some people they just like the color, and it's less about the rug, it's more about the color. And so they've kind of like helped the customer go through their buying journey just by adding a collection that was specifically based on color, right? I would be very, very interested in going to the colors, color selection, right? Or by room, bedroom, living room. Super super creative way to do this. It's not very typical for these types of companies, so it's not a given. Anyways, focus on that. Focus on scaling your concepts horizontally, like I explained in my other video, in my other slide over here. Scale horizontally your angles, your creative concepts, and I can assure you that you're going to find other revenue streams to actually achieve, fill up these gray areas, let's call them. Okay, so hopefully this video was valuable. It opened up some ideas. I know that once again I tend to repeat most of the things that I speak about in most videos, but it's to remind you, it's to reassure you that you need to do these things, and it's to just be really realistic. I don't like to talk about random things if they don't allow you to increase your revenue and actually make a difference. At the end of the day, yes, every brand scales in a different way. Every 8, 9, 10 figure company scales it with different strategies, but the infrastructure and the framework is always the same. It's always the same. Okay, which is why I tend to be a bit repetitive in my videos. Some people like it, some people don't. If you don't, just unsubscribe, I guess. But I am going to keep on talking about these concepts because they're super important. Now, this being said, as I said before, we typically work with 7 and 8 figure companies. If you're a brand doing at least $100,000 a month, plus or minus, and you want a free audit and you want to talk with me or with my team, you want an audit, you want a free strategy session, but most importantly, because you want to find that team that gets you to that next level, whether that's from 200K a month to a million a month or a million a month plus to even more, then book in a call. You have nothing to lose. Worst case, we come up with a plan of action, and then we can decide if it's a mutual fit, even because we only work with like 12 clients. So our most of the times our capacity is limited. But yeah, book in a call, see you on the other side, and definitely see you in the next video. Bye.